Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the Drake Cutlass Blue. Let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, welcome back to another review. Thank you Zero Grav, What124, Cypher1, and Rinrar42 for joining me on getting the best shots possible and the PvP battles in today's review of the Drake Cutlass Blue, which is the bounty hunting variant of the Cutlass series and comes in at a price tag of $175 on the Pledge Store when it is available, soon to be available during IAE, and then 3,704,400 aUEC in-game, which it's always available there, and it's a pretty decent price tag. You have a 9-minute and 59-second claim time with a 3-minute and 19-second expedited claim time, which means that if you get destroyed, you're back out there within 3 minutes if you spend the little extra dough to get the ship claimed a little earlier, which isn't bad at all given the size of the ship and what it can do for you. The pilot does have 1,785 burst damage per second due to the two size 3 Mantis GT220s and two size 3 DR Model XJ3 distortion weapons and 24 size 2 Tempest 2 missiles. It's a pretty good missile payload, but I will say, I would suggest getting rid of the two size 3 Mantis GT220s in favor of the two size 3 CF337 Panthers or NDBs, just so you have, a better damage output, more effect to the shields, because the distortion weapons become quite useless if you can't drop your opponent's shields, and not every time you use this ship will you have the turret manned, which I will say right now, you do have a manned turret, and if you don't have it manned, you're putting yourself at somewhat of a disadvantage with this ship. That manned turret comes with two size 3 CF337 Panthers, which allows you to consistently roll this vessel, keeping that turret on target, hopefully helping you defeat whoever you're facing. So keep that in mind. Better to have it manned than not, but you can definitely be capable without it manned as well. You do have the Burke Quantum Dampener on this, which gives you a 4,000 meter dampening field around your ship when activated. Any ship within 4,000 meters will not be able to jump away or enter NAV Speed. They can go into NAV mode, which drops shields, but they won't be hitting their NAV speed and they won't be able to jump away, so it'll become quite a bad time for them as long as you can keep them within 4,000 meters of your ship. You also have one size 2 shield generator outputting 5,760 bubble shield, which it's not the best out of all the ships in your general class like Freelancers, Zeus's, and C1 Spirits, but it's an okay amount. It probably trades off because of the fact that you have that Burke Quantum Dampener, so they don't want you to be too overpowered. You also have 35,770 ship HP, which with this ship, it's a little bit of a concern because a lot of your ship HP is spread throughout your wings as well as your engine nacelles. And with this, if you lose an engine, there's a good chance you could end up in a death spiral and you won't be able to recover. But there are some times where you lose an engine and you don't have that issue, and you could probably limp back to a station, and it's kind of like a, ooh, that was lucky. But usually it's not good when you lose one of those, so try not to do that. You also have 220 SCM as your top speed and 467 forward boost, 230 backwards boost, and a top nav speed of 1,165, allowing you to pretty much stay consistent with any target you're attacking. I would say stay away from anything smaller than you because you will be outmaneuvered just due to the fact that your pitch yaw roll sits at 38, 34, 110. Boosted, it's 46, 41, 132, but not often are you going to be holding that boost key other than to avoid another ship's fire, which any ship smaller than you is going to be able to outmaneuver you and be a hard time for you to fight. But that's not to say you can't do it, as if you know how to kind of angle your ship as well as backstrafe, you could definitely be on target quite often, which is kind of nice. You do have 48 flares and 5 noise, is typical across all ships in this class. And then you have 36 hydrogen SCU and 1.8 SCU of quantum fuel. I'm always the type of person that's like, if you got beds in a craft and you got all these capabilities on the interior to hold a crew for a long period of time, it should be over 2.0, but 1.8 seems to be the general average with a ship of this size when it has an interior, so can't complain too much. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the interior of this ship, but before we do, of course, you have to take a quick look at the exterior. This ship here does not have its gold standard or its components passed, so don't expect to see any components available once you are on the interior, and the lights on the outside are activated by hitting L on the keyboard, which will activate all lights including your headlights, so they are not separated at this time. Now, the only entrance you have is through the back ramp here. You do have 2 side entrances, but they're just EVA or docking port entrances, which you would typically use only in space. Now, when you get on board this ship, you do have a total of 12 SCU of cargo space, which is right here in the back room, which is pretty nice. Open up the door, put in your 12 SCU of cargo, block your entrance, you're good to go, right? And then you have your door open and close control right here on the left, right here on the left, and you have a fuse panel right at the entrance, so if you leave your door open for more than 2 seconds once engineering's in, somebody's going to take your fuse and it's going to be a very bad time for you. Make sure you carry extra fuses. You also have a fire extinguisher right on over here in the corner, another door control panel that allows you to get to the next area, which is your prisoner containment area, allowing you to hold prisoners on your bounty hunt. Now, this raises the question of how will bounty hunting actually be in the world of Star Citizen? We don't know yet because there's a lot of ways this could be potentially used to grief people, and so it might turn out just to be something they do with AI and not actual player people. But then again, if they really want to go about it, if you are a bounty hunter that's able to knock unconscious a person that's a real player, maybe what they could do is, if you don't drop that player off within a certain amount of time, that player is then transferred to a station or prison automatically, and the other person gets a crime stat of their own for holding hostage a prisoner. There's a lot of ways they can go about making this system work, and I can't wait to see how they can do that without making it a miserable experience for the player. It might not be something that ever works out other than just AI transportation of prisoners, but again, we'll see. Now, you do have those 2 airlock doors, as I was talking about, right on over here. Just in case a prisoner breaks on out, they have an easy access exit right on out this side door if you are in space. So that's kind of nice. Go ahead and close that right on up. And then if you walk on over here, you do have a weapons locker that you cannot currently access. There are no buttons, no way to access this weapons locker, which is just too bad. It would be pretty nice. This is kind of where your, prison guards would be like, oh yeah, you better watch yourself. And then you would grab a weapon if you need it, but yeah, you can't access that at this point, but you do have more in the next room right over here, which is quite similar to any other Cutlass series on the ship. Once you enter this room, you do have another fire extinguisher right here tucked away on this wall. Manned turret position, which for me, I've always considered this to be where you would go to the restroom and swap that out for a, remote turret. But hey, what can you do? It's a manned turret. This is where you access it. And then you have 2 beds right here for your crew. You have an engineer terminal for when engineering comes into play. You have a WUT 124 that sits right here, and you can definitely get this add-on if you buy it on the Pledge store. He does come with lifetime insurance. And then over here, you do have 4 weapon locker areas where you can store a couple weapons, or if you want to, a tractor beam. It's a pretty nice little area, and of course a fuse panel right here. And then behind you, you do have your 2 storage areas that you can access, allowing you to put some storage away if need be, which is pretty good. And then over here is your pilot and co-pilot seat, which if you get into the pilot seat, which we will do really quick, it raises you straight on up into a very great view that you have here in the Cutlass Blue, which is quite nice. This is where you would access your Q QD right here. It says QD on, or in the bottom right. You'd click that, and then it'd say Q dampener activate. Go ahead and hit that, and you are good to go. That activates the field around you, which is 4,000 meters, which typically would give you a crime stat if you were to do that to somebody when you're in a SATCOM range, so be very careful of that. Otherwise, you do have a total of 3 MFDs, 1, 2, 3, and a radar station. It's a pretty nice dash. I mean, it's pretty Drake if you're asking me. You have a little fan. It's kind of nice, but it's a great view. Excellent view. So you gotta love that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some PvP footage, and then I'll be right back with my score. Overall, it's a pretty great ship. It does okay in PvP. You really can't go against, light fighters, medium fighters, some heavy fighters. It just depends on how great of a pilot you are and what weapons package you have, because the weapons package will definitely make a big difference. You could get rid of all the distortions, that's totally fine, and just do CFs across the board. You could do NDBs across the board, but your maneuverability is not as good as it once used to be, which is something you have to consider when you're out there fighting, and you probably don't want to be front line in that combat. Do you want to be within 4,000 meters? Sure. Do you want to be the one actually brawling against a Guardian, an FHC, a Gladius? No, probably not. Can you handle some of those fights? Maybe, depending on how much support you have, but I wouldn't chance it 1v1. Now, when it comes to PvE, this is a fine ship. You don't have to worry about other PvE targets quantuming out, so you kind of lose some of your function there, and you're not able to use your prisoner pods, but you can definitely take out PvE targets. Just be careful when you start seeing those engine wings or nacelles get red. It might be time to get out of there, because you don't want to lose an engine and end up in a death spiral. Overall, this ship for me is a 78 out of 100. Its capabilities there as a squad fighter, if you have that turret manned, it's a decent looking ship. It has a great cockpit, open visibility, but outside of that, it is what it is for me. Let me know what you think of the Cutlass Blue in the comments down below. Do you like the Cutlass Blue, or do you just prefer going to Cutlass Black for that extended cargo grid, allowing you to carry and do so much more? Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being members on YouTube and as well as Patreon. You guys are all truly amazing, and I appreciate every single one of you. And of course, I will see you guys in the next one.